So this is Midland Air Museum. We've just come off the roundabout here, and you come almost straight to it after the roundabout. And we'll go in and have a look. They're expecting me. I called earlier to say I was going to shoot a video, so see what kind of welcome I get. This is what you see as you walk in. What's that? Tornado, isn't it? Is that a tornado? Anyway, here we come to the entrance. This is Midland Air Museum and also the Sir Frank Whittle Jet Heritage Centre. Sir Frank Whittle, of course, was a local boy. Tony Evans, who's on the committee, on the board of trustees of the museum, and I've got some probably stupid questions for him, but I'm going to ask him anyway. Yeah, the first thing I want to ask you is, the case is fantastically well organised. It's unbelievable how well you've organised everything, because there's awful lot to take in, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a fair collection actually. We have about at least 50 aircraft.
Yeah.
And all the other the story of the evolution of the jet engine is what the museum's all about.
Yeah.
So the museum has a central feature of the Sir Frank Whittle Heritage Centre, so it tells the story of Sir Frank Whittle, who was Coventry born.
Yeah.
And the early development of the jet engine through to current day.
Yeah, you've got lots of early jets, haven't you?
We do, yeah. We have a very early Second World War era Whittle jet.
Yeah.
We also have at the moment a German UMO jet from the same period that powered the ME-262.
Oh, I missed that. Is that undergoing restoration, or is it?
It is on display.
It is on display, yeah.
It's part of our how we work with the Imperial War Museum, because that particular engine is owned by the Imperial War Museum. It is here on a long-term loan.
Yeah.
As they particularly wanted one of our earlier pre-war engines in their collection for a period.
Yeah.
So we work very well with national museums as well.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to ask you, I guess sort of towards the end of the field, I noticed, there are lots of planes which are sort of undergoing restoration and people are scraping paint off and stuff.
We always have a restoration program.
Yeah.
So that much of our collection is outside, so we have to make sure it is protected from the elements.
Yeah.
They look good. They're in representative colour schemes of what they would have looked at in their service life. So the colour schemes you see, the ones we put on, are researched so that they're as accurate as possible to those particular aircraft. And it helps tell part of the history of those aircraft.
Oh, hang on, can we just stop there a minute? So here we are back again. I just had to rush off and put another disc in the camera. So what were we saying? I've lost my track.
We were talking about the restoration.
Oh yes, that's one of what I wanted to ask you. I guess there are several stages of restoration, aren't there? There must be a sort of stage where you get them looking presentable. Is there a sort of museum stage and
We do. Obviously, there are. The main element is to make sure that there's a good quality paint on, and it's good weatherproof, and it's representative of the service. We obviously have to think about the corrosion elements of the material. Obviously, we talk about metals here that will corrode over time.
Yeah.
So we do have to do corrections and corrective work on the aircraft to make sure that they're not decaying as well.
Yeah, so to stop them from decaying any further.
That's correct.
So I guess that's the first step, is it, to stop any? Hopefully.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And would you hope eventually? I mean, this would be very long term, I guess. Do you think eventually some of them will be airworthy again?
No, they won't. Not in. They are in a truly museum environment.
Yeah.
So none of them will fly again.
No.
No, they're in the museum. Obviously, they have cost-wise, it would be prohibitive anyway to get to that stage.
Yeah. What would you have to do to get them airworthy again? You'd have to take every bit to pieces.
They would. They'd have to have a full engineering check.
Yeah.
And then you have to convince the authorities that an aircraft of that age is capable of flying.
Yeah, which would be hard to do, I guess.
And we're not in the business of flying aircraft. We're in the business of presenting them in a museum environment.
Yeah, so you can see what they look like.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
tell the history of them.
Yeah, and one of them I noticed that I saw a guy restoring one, the Voodoo. Yeah.
The Voodoo is an example of an aircraft that's on our program this year for a repaint.
Yeah.
Obviously, the first stage that you saw is one of the members who started to prepare the paintwork for its first stage of painting.
Yeah.
Which is to clear off the old paint, make the surface in the right condition for putting the new paint on, checking for corrosion,
Yeah.
and then through the summer that will be worked on
Yeah.
with its new paint scheme.
Yeah. There's a lot of patches on it. Those patches, are they sort of covering corrosion holes or bullet holes? Or?
The patches that you see on that aircraft, and that happens on a number of the aircraft, actually relate to the service period of its career, in that when an aircraft sometimes finishes service, the Air Force use it for what they call battle damage repair practice. And it's the sort of damage it might be seen in a conflict and a battle situation to give the service personnel practice in repairing that aircraft so it can go back to a flying state.
Oh, that's interesting. So they fire a load of bullets at it.
Or they knock holes in it.
Or they're not, yeah.
And then the ground engineers then have to repair that to a serviceable
Yeah,
flight
so they put a patch on it, it would be able to fly with those patches.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, that's answered that question for me. Okay, another question I wanted to ask you was the displays you've got all the different fronts in the Second World War. You've got collections, you've got cabinets of planes, that flew in the North Sea, etc. And you've got absolutely every aircraft that was represented in that front, which is amazing. Models,
Yes,
of course.
yes.
Yeah.
We try and tell different stories of different eras.
Yeah. Now, where do you get all those models? Because some of them must be really obscure.
We have literally thousands of models. We do. We have model clubs that actually meet at the museum.
Yeah.
And they use the museum as their base.
Yeah.
And they take on the ownership of some of the displays. And they, in conjunction with our members who design the displays, they will provide the kits. They will provide some of the models that we can then build into our displays.
Yeah, but do kit manufacturers make all those obscure planes?
The vast majority are standard kits, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, some are actually modified from standard kits to the specific version that we're looking for.
Yeah. So if there's a really obscure one, you've got to do quite a lot of work on it, maybe, and modify it, or possibly would somebody ever build one from scratch, or?
On occasions, but normally they're modified or they're standard kits.
Yeah, because it's fantastic. You've got them all. What other questions do I want to ask you? I think that's all I can think of. Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, thanks very much. And I loved. I'm not particularly into jet aircraft, but I was today.
Hopefully it will give some of your customers an idea.
Yeah.
What we have here.
Some of them will just love it here. Yeah.
Well, our aim is to create an air of informality, and we try, and on every day we're open, we try and get members that act as guides, talk to customers. Yeah. Hopefully we can show them in one or two of the aircraft.
So it's very friendly here.
Hopefully.
Yes.
That's what we aim to create, that atmosphere.
I remember that's a very important question before you go. How did the whole thing start off? Because, it's a big undertaking here, isn't it?
It started off as an aviation society, basically, and way back, we're actually 41 years old this year.
41 years old,
yes. And it then developed into a group where it was open to the public on the odd Sunday or the odd bank holiday. and then developed into a full-time museum.
Yeah.
So we're actually open every day of the year apart from Christmas Day and Boxing Day.
Yeah, every day of the
So
year.
we have 363-day opening.
There's a plane. That's an old plane going past, wasn't it? Did you see that? What that was?
From we were alongside Coventry Airport, so
Yeah.
we do have.
I bet you knew what that was just from the sound of the engine, didn't you?
Probably not so much. No.
Yes, I remember another question I wanted to ask you. How do you get all the planes here? Because obviously a lot of them, I mean, did any of them fly in here? Or
The only ones that flew in are the Vulcan bomber.
Vulcan flew in,
Which
yeah.
is a huge aircraft.
Yeah, that's absolutely ginormous,
which
isn't
was
it?
flown in by the Royal Air Force in 1983.
83, yeah.
And then towed across to our site from the airfield here.
And that was the last time it flew.
That was the last time it flew.
Yeah.
And the Argosy Freighter, which is another big aircraft, but that has specific significance for us, that it was built at Coventry.
Yeah.
It was built by Armstrong Whitworth, who had one of their factories here at the airport.
Oh, it was at the airport,
It
yeah.
was at the airport.
Yeah.
And it flew in 1987.
Yeah. How many manufacturers were there, around the area in Coventry?
Well, basically, Armstrong Whitworth were the aircraft manufacturer.
Yeah.
Many component manufacturers, people like Dunlop and Rolls-Royce or Bristol Siddeley, as it was, building engines.
Yeah.
And many other companies in the area.
Yeah.
There are obviously very few now.
Yeah.
But we do have a history, and that's one of the stories we like to tell in the museum.
Yeah, so there would be a lot of local people with a lot of knowledge of what happened in those factories and stuff, and you need to get all the archives and
we do have a big
keep
archives.
it for posterity.
We do have a big archive centre here.
Oh, do you?
We have a
Yeah.
lot of documents that we've collected over the years.
Yeah.
So we can do a certain amount of research,
Yeah.
and that's an important part of the museum as well.
Yeah. So if the aircraft don't fly in, how do you get them here, in pieces or
They basically come by road, yes.
in pieces, and then you have to put them back together again?
That's correct, yes.
All right.
That's down to ourselves. We obviously use specialist haulage companies to actually do the transportation on the road, but generally speaking, we do the work in assembling them and disassembling them and assembling on site.
Yeah. And do people give them to you, or do you have to buy them, or?
They come from various sources. I mean, nowadays they tend to be a commercial value on these aircraft.
Yeah.
So it's becoming harder and harder.
Yeah.
Occasionally they have been donated in the past. Some are on loan from other organisations. So it's a variety of sources.
Yeah. Oh, one more question I wanted to ask you. There's a map of showing all the local airfields, and on that map there are pins showing all the German aircraft which were shot down. Yeah, and you've got a case that is really clever. You've got all the pins are numbered, and you show the kit, of the model of the aircraft in the case, so you can see all the aircraft that were shot down. Now, what happened to the wreckage from those aircraft?
Probably a lot of it's still in the ground or rotting away.
Still in the ground.
Some elements were recovered.
Yeah.
We have a little bits and pieces in the museum that do show examples of some of the records that is
there's
here.
an aircraft that's about 40. What was it? The 1400 built, and you've got the last surviving bit of one. And
the Whitley bomber that was built in Coventry.
And
it's very important. One of the very important bombers in the early part of the Second World War.
Yeah, and all that's left is a bit of wreckage.
Unfortunately, none survived.
Not a single aircraft.
Not a single aircraft.
Just that bit of wreckage. So, have you got any plans to go out and dig that wreckage up? Whether the German aircraft that are still in the ground?
No, I mean that wouldn't be the sort of role that we would probably take on ourselves. But I mean, there are people that do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't do it yourselves, but you'd be very interested, of course. Wouldn't
we
you?
would be interested, and if it has a local significance, we'd be interested in helping to tell the story of that tour.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Tony. That's. I think that's a really interesting interview, and that's going to make my website look great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's really great. Thanks very much for that.
You're very welcome.
So this is what you see when you come in. We've got a really good shop here if you're into airfix kits. You'll be in paradise here. The thing is absolutely crammed with models.
Okay, I'll put that there. That's
Thank you.
Here we are. We go through the shop into the museum. Let's see what we see here. Well, I need to get my bearings here. Aeroplanes everywhere you look. Whoa. Is that a real one? Or is it a replica? Looks like a real one. This is what you see when you come out of the shop and or the entrance. And this is what I saw when I came in. And I didn't know what to make of it all. So I've just stopped before filming and just gone around and had a quick look. And I've got some kind of sense of what's all here. So I'm going to go all the way around and I'm going to break all the rules of video making now. Not that I know what the rules are, but if I did know them, I'd be breaking them anyway. So anyway, what you have here, first of all, you've got, it's all in chronological order. You go up these stairs and first of all, you've got early planes, the history of aviation in Coventry. So here we go. We've got some, this is one of the first planes made in Coventry. This is Blériot's. It's a copy of the Blériot plane which flew the Channel, and it says here that Humber in Coventry got the license to produce them, and the first ones appeared in early 1910 with a 3-cylinder 30 HP Humber engine based on the French Anzani design, but with a larger oil sump crankcase and dual ignition. So this is a replica, but it's got an original engine. Okay, and then we come along here. There are various things which along the way, little interesting things. Standard Motor Company. So the little sections, little subsections. Here's Armstrong Siddeley. Here's all Armstrong Siddeley's planes. Look at that, all of them. I wonder how they managed to get all the are these Airfix or what? I'll be asking later on, so I'll get some answers to that. And here's a Sopwith pup, and this trying to get it into the frame. Sopwith pup. This is a replica again, but it really looks like the real thing. I'm not sure about the engine. Is that a replica engine? I don't know. Here's a Bentley rotary engine made in the First World War. And then we come along here, and now we're coming into the Second World War. Here we've got Armstrong Whitworth Aircraft Company. We've got all their planes, models of all their planes. Here we go. So this is amazing. How have they got hold of all these models? Because some of them must be quite obscure. And here's some design. Oh look, these are design projects. Wow, those must be valuable. And we've got Armstrong Whitworth Argosy here. So there's lots of little things, little interesting cases and subsections. But basically, we're going through into the Second World War here as I go along here. So here we go into the Second World War. Armstrong Whitworth. This is a BAA cargo. What's this? Civil Transport 1958. That doesn't really fit in. I think I might have gone the wrong way. But anyway, we're into the Second World War now. And air war on the home front. And we've got several display windows here. And they've all got all the planes involved in that front, so all the different fronts in the war. So this is air war on the home front. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few, Winston Churchill. And here we are. Here's, of course, it's a Hurricane or a Spitfire. I'm going to make myself look stupid now. Is it? Have I got it in? Yeah, there's a lot of reflections on the glass, so it's not coming out very well. Let me move around and see if I can get it a bit better. Okay. You see, I'm breaking all the rules here. This isn't going to be edited. I don't edit. Okay, so moving on to the next window, we've got air war in the Pacific. And look, we've got all the aircraft here. Corsair, US Navy, US Hornet, TBM-3 Avenger, Nakajima Hiate, Allied codename Frank. So they're all here. So this is quite an achievement to get all these models here. And again, I wonder how they managed to get them all, because I don't know anything about aircraft models, but I must imagine some of them are fairly obscure. Here's Mitsubishi, so they've got all the American planes, all the Japanese planes, and you've got some in the air here. That's a nice one. That's what's that, a bomber? American bomber. And then panning round slowly so you don't get too giddy. We've got the mighty 8th US Air Force, 8th Air Force in England. And there's a map here. Oh, that's nice. Look. USA airfields. I'll zoom in so you can see that. USA airfields, 50th anniversary official souvenir map. So there you've got all the American Air Force airfields, US Air Force airfields in the Second World War. The map is absolutely peppered with them, all over the place. Anyway, here's all the planes. Yeah, here we go. Oh, there's some tanks as well. So there's all the American planes they had in Britain in the Second World War. Let's go over here. We've got some more windows here. We've got Scandinavian Air War. Now that's interesting. So, anti-shipping strikes across the North Sea. Got all the German planes. You've got the Messerschmitt, the Hurricane, Martlet, World Tiger, Martlet. Haven't heard of that. Spitfire, Beaufighter, Mosquito, Luftwaffe, Focke-Wulf, Liberator, Junkers, and what have we got here? We've got the Luftwaffe. This is all the German planes. I guess all the ones that Italian Air Force planes here. I don't know what. Yeah, Italian and German. Moving around. This is a little thing. This is after the war, isn't it? This is air cargo. Is it? And here we go. Croydon Aerodrome. Oh, that's what it is. It's a mock-up of Croydon Aerodrome. 1915 to 1959. So there's all the planes that flew out of Croydon Aerodrome. Coming past Croydon Aerodrome, now we come into more of the Second World War. So Croydon Aerodrome is a little, we went off at a tangent a little bit. We've got women at war here. Obviously, munitions factories in Coventry. Remember, we're virtually in Coventry here, just on the outskirts of Coventry. We're at Coventry Airport, and here is, now this is really interesting. I had a look at this. This is the last remaining piece. There's no other remains of an AWA Whitley bomber. This one crashed 15 miles southeast of Inverness in 1942, and this is all that's left of it. Yeah, that's all that's left of it, and that's the only remaining bit of one of these planes. And there were, it says here, there were 1,466 built, and this is all that's left of them. Isn't that sad? Okay, and Whitley wreckage. Here's more of the Whitley wreckage. So this, I guess this is what one of them looks like. Here we go in the case. And it's a nice looking plane. What a shame there's none left. That's all that's left of it. Here we go. Oh, is this more wreckage? Yeah, this is more of the wreckage. So this is very valuable, I guess. This must be worth a fortune to... I don't know if they have auctions for this kind of thing. I guess they do. But to the right collector, that must be worth a fortune. Here's some more of the Whitley wreckage. Here we go. This, oh, I see. Yeah. This is all from the Whitley wreckage. And these two blades, it says. Oh, this is from a Whitley Mark V recovered from the River Avon at Hampton Lucy near Warwick. And here's a very important one for local people, of course. This is the Midlands map. This shows all the it shows all the airports around the Midlands, and all the ones and their present use. It shows their present use. Here we go. It's quite a lot of information to take in here, but it's very well presented. It would take you, I would guess, about half an hour to take it all in, to read it all. But you've got the green pins here. Let me zoom in. The green pins here represent crashes, German aircraft crashes around the Midlands. And here are all the, the pins are numbered, and in the case it shows the actual model of the aircraft which crashed. So I don't know what happened to all. I'm going to ask later on what happened to all the wreckage. Where did it end up? Here's various World War II memorabilia, and it's made to look like I'm not sure, ARRP shelter or something. Now we come through and we've got display for Dunlop Aviation, and we've got all their brake units here, and these are very impressive looking things. Fantastic engineering there. So that's all Dunlop Aviation Division. And now we come down back to the stairs. We come full circle on the first floor. We come out through here. And what have we got here? We've got Armstrong Siddeley Sapphire jet engine. Yeah, and another Viper jet engine, and oh, I'm lost here. Is the Rolls-Royce Limited. So Bristol Siddeley at Anstey. Well, Anstey is just up the road from my premises. Now I've got to find the way down again. Come down the steps past the Blériot, and this is what we see then. We see mostly early jet engines. There's one or two sort of anomalies, but this is mainly early jet engines. Jet planes and jet engines, but mainly jet planes in here, early jets. I'm going to go through fairly quickly, but there's lots to see here and take in. You could spend, well, depends how interested you are, I guess. You could spend, some people could spend several hours in here, I imagine, but I'm going through in a few minutes. I'm just trying to give you a taste of what's here. I've had a look up here. I'm not sure what this is. This is an interesting thing up here. I'm not sure what it is. It's sort of, it looks like a kit, sort of homemade plane that you might make up in your garage. This looks like this is an early, is that a replica? That looks like a very early plane. But all jet engines in here, Rolls-Royce Derwent engine, and a Gloucester Meteor here, and there's the pilot in there, ready for takeoff. More engines here, turbines, Rolls-Royce engine. This is the story of the jet. Oh yes, here's a section on the story of the jet engine and Frank Whittle, of course. And here there's a film which plays all the time. Whittle, the jet pioneer. Play main feature. Scene select. You can. I think you can just turn it on when you come in. Just turn it on and it'll come on. There's usually several people sitting down watching it. And here's all the early passenger aircraft, Boeings. We come out again, and now we're coming out of the hangar now. We go outside, and there's loads of stuff here. It's interesting. There's two things of interest here. First of all, a lot of these are being restored, and you can actually see people working on them, restoring them. And yeah, I'm coming out. This is a helicopter. I'm not sure what this is. It looks very fierce. It's got a nasty old gun on there, and yeah, it's a serious piece of kit. And we've got all kinds of jet aircraft out here, and there's a group of people painting here, sketching and painting, and some of the things they're doing are fantastic. I'm going to try and peer over their shoulders. I hope I'm not going to annoy them. I'm going to come around here, and there's loads of I'm not going to look at too much at the descriptions, because oh look, this is a big one. What's this? I better tell you what this is. And there's a Vulcan bomber out here. This is the Vulcan bomber you see as you come in. This is a Vulcan bomber over here. There it is. Huge thing. When you stand underneath the wings, which I'm going to do now, you can see it's absolutely huge. Huge shed standing under the wings. So this huge freighter aircraft is an Argosy Whitworth. Here we go, and I'm going to look up at in here where the wheel goes. Wow. There's another shot of the Vulcan bomber. Let's go under the wing and see how huge the wing is. Absolutely huge. Look at that. How did they make that so it could take off?